change the partisan balance on the 7-seat high court, but it could narrow the Democratic majority to a one-vote margin, 4-3, should Carluccio win. Total reported spending has passed $4.5 million, with millions more likely before the November 7th election. Much of the money is from trial lawyers, labor unions, and a billionaire who is considered one of the GOP's top national donors. And the Powerball jackpot has climbed to an estimated $1.4 billion after no players matched all 6 numbers and hit it rich. The winning numbers announced Wednesday night were 9, 35, 54, 63, 64, and the Powerball 1. Players will next have a shot at the Powerball jackpot Saturday night. No matter how large the prize grows, the odds stay the same. It's the odds of 1 in 292.2 million that make the jackpot so hard to win. The $1.4 billion jackpot is for a sole winner who takes an annuity. Winners choosing the cash option would receive an estimated $643.7 million.
Checklist for mom again?
Yes, and I found the perfect place for mom. The Village at St. Barnabas. Luxury condo-style living with activities, restaurants, a hair salon, and she can bring her dog Lucky.
Did you tell her about the Village at St. Barnabas?
I didn't have to. She told me.
Discover the Village at St. Barnabas. Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com for a tour. That's stbarnabascommunities.com.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
We can expect partly sunny skies today with a high near 81 degrees. Showers likely tonight going down to a low of 61. Showers tomorrow with a possible thunderstorm in the afternoon, reaching a high of 69. Chance of showers Saturday with partly sunny skies and a high near 55. Chance of showers Sunday with sunny skies and a high near 50. And on Monday, Columbus Day, we'll have a chance of showers with partly sunny skies and a high of 55 degrees. On this Thursday, October the 5th of 2023, at 10 after 9, we've got a temperature of 64 degrees with sunny skies in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Curtis Walsh on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Now, it's time to talk on Teleforum on Beaver County Radio. 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, 99.3 FM, and beavercountyradio.com. And now, here is the host of the show, Eddie Crow.
It's already turned into a bag of cats, and I'm fine with that. Today has asked the commissioners to start Teleforum. Welcome, this is Teleforum. It's 10 minutes after 9. Today's the last day. It's not going to rain, so go out there and stare at the leaves. You're going to get the rake here in about, a week and a half. Dan Camp is my guest. Jack Manning is my guest. We're asking the commissioners if you've got a question for them. Hi, gentlemen. I'm sorry. I'm just babbling. I didn't even say hi to you guys.
Hello, Eddie.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Always good to be with you.
Now, see, you say that. Is that the God's honest truth?
Right now, it is.
It is.
It is, Eddie. Yeah.
It could turn at any moment, couldn't it?
We'll see.
If you've got questions for the commissioners, you can call. But what you can also do is post them. This is being live Facebook feeded right now. And if you've got questions, you can post any questions on that. Let me get the camera right because I want people to see both of you. Because otherwise they can. You realize somebody's watching this on Facebook right now going, oh my God, that guy's having a seizure.
Yeah, really. So
let's do this. Let's do this. I see both of you.
That's not going to work. Do you want some help?
I would love some help, Jack, because the most important thing in radio is to make sure that the video works. Well, we'll see. Have a seat back. Don't mind us. Technology is more important now than it's ever been. And that's just...
People don't need to see my face.
they've seen your face.
Yeah.
They see your face all the time
That's true.
because you guys got to go to events.
Yeah.
You guys, part of your job is to be seen. So I see you all the time. I
Do my best.
I see you more than my cats. Dan, I see you running around. Is this the busiest time? I'm not going to talk about elections, but do you get busier this time, or is it just you get
every
visible?
year? And it's been like this for almost as long as I've lived here. It seems like when school starts up, there's a 8 to 10 week period where every nonprofit, every school event, every municipality, it's their fall festivals. This is always a very busy time for activities. Yeah, it's one after the other, pretty much from Labor Day through till Veterans Day, let's say.
Is that true for you too, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. As Jack said, we see it a lot when kids go back to school. You have your school events, you have your nonprofit events coming before the end of the year, our Fall Fest. I mean, I think our communities like to celebrate fall. It's one of the most beautiful times of the year. You have good weather normally. They're not going to have Spring Fest. You can always get rain or cold.
Or snow.
Or snow. Yeah, absolutely. So, excluding the election, of course, it is just normally a busy time of year because our communities really flourish at this time.
Yeah.
One of the first things that I wrote down to ask you guys about, because I think this is the week that we're supposed to become aware of it, about infrastructure and about technology and about broadband. There is a week going on in PA.
This is Digital Equity Week, which is part of the broadband initiative to go out and make sure. It's one thing to have access to the internet. It's another to understand how to use its full capabilities and to make sure it's equitably used and accessed across our communities. Yeah, so the state, I believe, the Broadband Authority, has designated this week as Digital Equity, Broadband Equity Week.
I want to ask you a question, and it's going to sound kind of snotty, and I don't mean for it to be, because I'm in the same boat, sort of. Mm-hmm. How much easier is it for Dan to sort out and understand technology than it is for somebody like my age or maybe your age? Do you see a difference in the grasping of the importance when it comes to age?
Well, it isn't for me because I worked in industry and business so long, and our technology had to keep up. So I'm fairly well versed with that. I mean, show my age a little bit, but my BlackBerry was attached to me, was part of me for 20 years, and all the technology that came with that translates over into Surface Pros and the stuff we have. We happen to have a great IT program director that keeps us up to date, keeps our systems current and state of the art. For some people, certainly we have a lot of seniors. We have an aging demographic,
right.
and certainly a lot of those folks do struggle with access and understanding how to do it. Office of Aging has programs that can go into homes and help seniors with that, as well as some other folks around that specialize in that kind of work.
Dan, is it all second nature to someone in your demographic?
It is, but it's technology changes every day.
Okay.
So you get comfortable with what you do every day, whether it's on your phone or on a Surface Pro or a computer. But of course, if you change positions or get new technology coming into the courthouse or into a doctor's office, it's going to change. So again, it's something you learn every day. As Commissioner Manning said, Office of Aging plays a pretty big role because I think one of the things in the demographics is the healthcare industry is really changing when it comes to technology on how you schedule appointments, how you pay bills, how you even have doctor's appointments. So it's one of the things that we have to adapt to. But I know you had one of our employees on here yesterday to speak about equitable access, accessible Wi-Fi and broadband across Beaver County. We're hoping that we're making the right investments to make sure that whether or not how you might need to know how here in the future, because that might be the only way of doing some things.
Yeah, two things. I have a habit of stopping at a certain restaurant in Beaver Falls.
Okay.
Before I come here every Thursday.
Don't tell me the restaurant, but what do you order?
Scrambled eggs. It's a number 3 on
it's
the But
It's the number
they
three.
They had just changed their point of sale system.
Yeah.
And she was in there. The owner was in there with the staff, and they were getting used to the new point because it was an upgrade in the technology. So as Dan says, technology changes all the time for everybody. And I heard earlier that Norm Mitry was on. I was listening to Norm talking about, again, telemedicine, the importance for the Heritage Valley, what's happening at Costco and CVS and all these. I mean, it's a way of life that people are going to be shut out if they don't have access to that telemedicine and the stuff that's happening now because of the shortages that we have in some critical care positions.
Dan mentioned the investment. What is the investment that Beaver County is making and is going to keep growing? Will it need to be growing?
We set aside tentatively several $1 million, $18-20 million for this, but we're also pursuing grants because we're not going to be able to accomplish full implementation of hard wiring every home just on what we set aside. So there's state grants, federal grants, and different things. So we're continuing to apply for that. I don't know what the total investment will be at the end of the day, but somewhere probably around $15 million at least from ARPA funds.
Yeah.
Dan, I don't know.
What's the timeline? Technology's changing. We're already, or we always
we have
are
two
chasing.
early action projects that are actually taking place. So there's about 140 homes in the Darlington, South Beaver, Big Beaver Borough that are being hooked up right now, and about 75 others in the Hanover area. So we're laying cable and getting to those hard to hit rural areas that haven't had any access at all right now. And we signed a contract with Verizon to implement across the board.
What changes about your job as technology changes? Being a commissioner now has to be different than 20 years ago.
Well, I wasn't a commissioner 20 years ago, so I really don't.
Well, I'm just
really
thinking.
Don't know, but I think it's like anything else. There's instant access to everything, everywhere, particularly when it comes to social media and those kinds of things. So we get feedback a little more spontaneously than we might have. I imagine in the commissioners 20 years ago, where people had to show up at a public meeting or send a letter or have an advocate come into the courthouse for them.
How much weight do you think that carries that somebody posts something on the internet? Do you guys pay more attention to what you hear on media, social media, or is it still the old way of going back and being in front of people?
It's nice when an individual has a serious concern, whether it's county, state, locally related, that they come in front of us and discuss it. I'm sure Commissioner Manning and I both read everything on social media, whether we read it or it gets sent to us from a family member or a supporter. And if we think it's serious, we address it with each other. We address it at a meeting. But I will tell you, Commissioner Manning is the best at getting back to people. So if it's a serious matter, he's going to get back to you, whether it's through social media or if they leave an email. A lot of people do call our office before, if there's something that they want to address, they'll call and talk to one of the ladies in the front. They will then get the information to one of us, and somebody will normally get back to them.
Right. It depends. I mean, if it's just a diatribe where you're just want to scream,
all capital letters,
it's hard to respond to something like that because no response is going to be adequate.
How do you respond to that? Because if you don't, you're danged if you do, and you're danged if you don't. If I send you any on social media, "Hey Manning," all capital letters, lots of exclamation points, how do you respond to that? Thank you. We'll look into it.
Eddie.
Huh? Thank you for your feedback.
Thank you for your feedback. That's
like
because
that.
you can't win those kind of. Not that you're trying to win, but you really can't satisfy someone with a response when they come at you with that much vitriol. And it doesn't happen very often, by the way. I mean, they are very rare that we get those. Most of them are serious concerns with serious issues. A lot of them are things that are beyond our purview, so it's difficult for us to come up with an answer or solution, but we try our best
Direct them.
to direct them in the right direction, go to their state rep or go to Senator Casey or whoever to get those things resolved.
You talk about going to the state rep. I want to talk about Harrisburg just for a second. The fact that we have no budget yet How much does that affect your work every day? Or does it?
A lot of money flows through, and the essential services that money, my understanding, has continued to flow through. There are some things that they haven't appropriated yet. So far, I don't think it's been a big impact on any of our departments. Right?
Yeah, normally in the past, if a budget has not been passed, there's times where the county would have to go take a TRAN note, a tax anticipation note. We're fortunate enough that we have the funds in our account that we don't have to do that. We don't have to go to bank and borrow any money for a short period of time. But as Commissioner Manning said, as of right now, there hasn't been anything that hasn't been allocated that we've been in need for. Now, it is affecting, those are calls we are getting, so it is affecting grants that aren't getting put out there, whether it's redevelopment grants or grants to nonprofits. We're starting to see those effects.
Are these grants that those people were told, yes, this is a done deal, or are they hopeful?
It's existing pots of money that every year come up and get renewed that people can apply for.
Annual money.
So
Yes.
it's a lot of those kinds of issues for the most part. So they're anticipating being able to apply and do that, and they can't yet. So
And as Commissioner Manning said, that it's not something that we are directly overseeing. Those are the calls we receive. Those are the serious ones that Commissioner Manning, myself, Commissioner Medell, we want to address with our state reps, our state senators, even the governor's office, and say, listen, there's individuals out here who need this money, or their nonprofit's going to shutter, or their business is going to close down. Even though it doesn't fall underneath us, we could be an advocate for them.
How much of a listening ear do you feel you get when you call Harrisburg?
I think quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, we have a pretty good relationship with our representatives, and even the governor's office. I think our relationship grew whenever the Norfolk Southern train derailment happened. Nothing against the Wolf administration, but we didn't have such a good listening ear, especially that was during the COVID time, so it was a little tougher. But Governor Shapiro and his team, they have local experience. He was a county commissioner one time, then he was a state rep, so he understands the processes. He understands what boots on the ground mean. But our relationship with Senator Vogel, Senator Baralotta, Representative Kale, Marshall, and Matsey, I mean, it's good.
It's excellent. Yeah, it's excellent. And as Dan said, a lot of the department heads in Harrisburg now, some of these folks we didn't see for the 4 years prior to that are spending a lot of time, and not just stuff related to the train derailment, but Transportation Secretary, PennDOT, being able to get a hold of them and access them. We have some great relationships.
Why does that change? Just different people? They approach it different ways? Or how could you be representative of people in the Commonwealth and not be available to have conversations about people in the Commonwealth?
Well,
I don't want you to throw anybody under the bus.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying they weren't.
How do you do that?
They weren't available, but
Okay.
I mean, like with the train derailment, those guys all came to Beaver County. They all sat in the same room, and it's different when you're sitting in the same room with all these DEP and PEMA and all these folks, and they see you face to face. It's a different level of relationship. That's all.
Sure.
And you just establish a rapport, and those kinds of relationships weren't necessarily formed in the past.
Yeah, for an example, Commissioner Manning could probably pick up the phone right now and call Secretary Nagrin,
absolutely.
Secretary of DEP, because of that relationship that was formed from the unfortunate event.
There's a face with the name.
There's a face with
Absolutely.
a name, and they know that whether we helped them out or we were accessible to them at their time of need. Now they're accessible to us. Not saying another county couldn't, but across the Commonwealth, 67 counties, it's tough to be able to spread one individual thing. Now they have a team of individuals, but we have direct access to some people. Because
He's not taking 67 phone calls in one day from each county.
No.
It's 26 minutes after 9. It's Teleforum. Today we're asking the commissioners, Jack Manning and Dan Camp are our guests. You can call a question. You can post it on the social media. This is being live streamed on Facebook right now. We got a question on there. We'll take care of that after this on Teleforum.
Beaver County High School football has always been known as the best high school football around. And again this year, everybody around the world will get to see and hear the action on Beaver County Radio. On Friday night, the Blackhawk Cougars will take on the Aliquippa Quips in Parkway Conference action. Coverage on Beaver County Radio begins with pregame at 6:30 and kickoff is set for 7 p.m. Friday night's game can be seen live on our Facebook page at WBVP-WNBA, along with our YouTube page at BCR Radio, and online at beavercountyradio.com, along with your radio dial. High school football on Beaver County Radio this season is being brought to you in part by Keystone Wellness Program, Patriot Home Care, the Grand Valley Inn, AK Nahas Furniture Gallery, the Community College of Beaver County, the Beaver County Career and Technology Center, Drug Free Aliquippa, the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority, and Moon Township Ford, among others. So tune in every Friday night right here on Beaver County Radio.
The best of Beaver County is easy to discover. It's right here on your radio. Tune in Beaver County Radio or watch the best of Beaver County live on Facebook or YouTube video this and every Thursday from 11 to 11:30. The program is made possible by St. Barnabas. For over 3 years now, the show has been dedicated to shining light on the great things going on right here in your neighborhood and the people that are making it happen. This Thursday, enjoy conversation and insight from an intriguing lineup of guests who are creating excitement and having an impact right here in Beaver County. Your friends and neighbors at St. Barnabas are pleased to support the best of Beaver County. The radio broadcast will also be replayed each week from 11:30 to noon on Sundays on Beaver County Radio. Archived Best of Beaver County videos can be viewed on the WBVP WMBA Facebook page. It's your chance to encounter the best of Beaver County with host Mike Romai this Thursday starting at 11. For more information, visit beavercountyradio.com.
Tune into the Coach's Corner on Beaver County Radio every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 p.m. You can tune in by turning your radio dial to Beaver County Radio or by clicking the audio streaming apps on your phone or computer. You can also watch the video stream of the show on Facebook Live or on our YouTube channel. The Coach's Corner is being brought to you by Keystone Wellness Program, Patriot Home Care, the Grand Valley Inn, the Community College of Beaver County, the Beaver County Career and Technical Center, Falcone's Moon Township Ford, the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority, St. Barnabas Dental and Dr. Peter J. Montini, Goldberg, Persky and White, Friendly Federal Credit Union, the J&J Spratt Funeral Home, Geneva College, Carver Construction, Freedom United Federal Credit Union, Electric Garage Door Sales in Monaca, Beaver County Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Nissan, McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, Fisher's New Brighton Foodland, and Beaver County Radio.
Freedom United Federal Credit Union proudly presents the return of Beaver County's #1 buy, sell, and trade show, Yankee Trader. The all-new Yankee Trader is back, and popular show host Diane Brocious will return to host every Saturday morning from 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Beaver County Radio. So get ready to buy, sell, and trade every Saturday right here on Beaver County Radio. The Yankee Trader Show is brought to you by your friends at Freedom United Federal Credit Union in Rochester. Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Curtis Walsh.
Good morning. We can expect sunny skies today with some rain showers moving in later. We'll have a high of 81 degrees. We'll have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after this look at news. Aliquippa held their city council meeting last night. Beaver County radio news correspondent Sandy Giordano reports that Lawrence Reddick, a 1991 Aliquippa High School graduate, is the new road department head. Reddick has been with the department for 7 years. The city approved the hiring of a part-time police officer, Garrett Kimmel. Kimmel will also be a K-9 officer, according to Police Chief John Lane. Chief Lane told council that the police department is being assisted by the state police and Ambridge Police. District Superintendent Dr. Philip Woods and members of the school board have decided, due to incidents at recent home football games, that anyone under 12 must be accompanied by an adult 18 or older. Midland Fire Chief Joe Dietrich reported Wednesday that a 2-story brick duplex home that was destroyed by fire early Tuesday morning is under investigation. Firefighters were dispatched at 1 a.m. and were assisted by Industry, Ohioville, Shippingport, and Vanport fire departments. Chief Dietrich says the home was located at the corner of 4th Street and Ohio Avenue and has been abandoned for about 5 years. If your cell phone was on at 2:20 p.m. Eastern Time yesterday, you should have heard a loud noise and seen a message flash across your screen. That's when the U.S. government conducted its once every 3 years nationwide test of the emergency alert system. Alerts also went out on radio and television. The cell phone alerts went off at the White House during Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre's briefing. Ahead of the test, organizations that work with abuse supervisors who have secret phones recommended they turn them off as to not have the blaring noise tip off their abusers. The last nationwide test was on August 11th, 2021. Spending in the campaign for an open Pennsylvania state Supreme Court seat is picking up, with millions of dollars flowing into the race as the sides sharpen their attacks over questions about ethics and abortion rights. The race between Democrat Dan McCaffrey and Republican Carolyn Carluccio won't change the partisan balance on the 7-seat high court, but it could narrow the Democratic majority to a 1-vote margin, 4-3, should Carluccio win. Total reported spending has passed $4.5 million, with millions more likely before the November 7th election. Much of the money is from trial lawyers, labor unions, and a billionaire who is considered one of the GOP's top national donors. The Powerball jackpot has climbed to an estimated $1.4 billion after no players matched all 6 numbers and hit it rich. The winning numbers announced Wednesday night were 9, 35, 54, 63, 64, and the Powerball 1. Players will next have a shot at the jackpot Saturday night. No matter how large the prize grows, the odds stay the same. It's those odds of 1 in 292.2 million that make the jackpot so hard to win. The $1.4 billion jackpot is for a sole winner who takes an annuity. Winners choosing the cash option would receive an estimated $643.7 million. The man facing a murder charge in the fatal shooting of Tupac Shakur in Las Vegas 27 years ago has made his first court appearance. Duane Kef D. Davis faced a Nevada judge Wednesday following his indictment last week. Police and prosecutors say Davis orchestrated the drive-by killing of the hip-hop icon in September 1996 and provided his nephew with the gun to do it. Davis has publicly described his role in the killing for several years. Court records list Eddie Fowle as his attorney. Davis denied an interview with the Associated Press in jail, where he's being held without bail.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
We can expect partly sunny skies today with a high near 81 degrees. Showers likely tonight going down to a low of 61. Showers tomorrow with a possible thunderstorm in the afternoon at a high of 69 degrees. A chance of showers Saturday with partly sunny skies and a high near 55. Showers likely Sunday with sunny skies and a high near 50. And on Monday for Columbus Day, we'll have a chance of showers with partly sunny skies and a high of 55 degrees. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Curtis Walsh on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
St. Barnabas thanks you for listening to Beaver County Radio.
Teleforum rolls on. When I check my schedule and I see it's Ask the Commissioners, I actually get a little bit giddy for a couple of reasons. One, that means I get to see Jack and I get to see Dan, Jack Camp, or I'm combining you two with the squint. Jack Manning and Dan Camp are my guests on Ask the Commissioners. And two, it means that I get to talk about something that has a direct effect, on everyone in Beaver County. And that's wonderful. And I totally messed up. I've always... Jack, how many times have we done it where I opened with, so what's up with the reassessment? Pretty much all of them, right?
Let's see, I think this is my 45th time on the air with you now. So for quite a while, every month.
I put the B side on instead of the A side. I completely blew it. I'm sorry. So, Jack, how's the reassessment?
Well, it's pretty much out of our hands. I'll let Dan talk about it. It's in the courts now. The appeals are in the courts, and I think what was the number Garen gave us yesterday? Like 279 appeals now have gone, I think, forward into the courts after they've gone through the Tyler technology, through our appeals process, and this is another step. So
yeah, we're as Commissioner Manning said, it's not out of our hands. It's in the court's hands now. We have a little over 250 plus. So I think we'll probably have a couple more come in as people are still getting their reviews from the assessment appeals boards. Majority of them are commercial properties,
businesses,
Are they?
larger structures.
Okay.
The ones who have the money and the attorneys to come and fight those taxes. It's going to be important over the next year that we follow and watch what these local municipalities and school districts do, because as we stated the last several years, the law says we can only raise taxes 5%, and you have to have a separate vote on that 5%. The county's not doing that. We have no plans to do that. I don't know about the schools and municipalities, but after that first year, they can then raise them. So it's something to be watching here. I think we're going to next year see the same amount of appeals come to the courts, because the school taxes will then take effect. People will see that dollar figure on their assessed value.
How would that happen? The appeals process, I thought, had a time limit. Could somebody a year from now say, "Oh, okay, the county didn't get me, but the school taxes did"? They can appeal that.
We have always had an appeals board, so there's always a standing board that's there. With a reassessment, obviously, you're going to get 10 times more, so we had multiple boards to get us through the reassessment. We'll go back to a board, I think maybe even 2 boards
Probably
next
2.
year, anticipating that the first year after the reassessment, there still may be more appeals. But yeah, people can appeal anytime, at any time, every year.
Who sits on the boards?
The boards that we have now are made up. We have about 25 individuals, from business owners to realtors across the Commonwealth. We put a thing out saying, if you're interested, please contact the assessment office. So it's a wide variety of people. Our main board, each commissioner does pick one representative. My representative is Dee Dixon. Jackson,
Tank Latham.
Tank Latham, and Commissioner Medeo is Miss Hall, Karen Hall from Center Township.
Yeah.
That's the main board who has been put in place since 2020 when Commissioner Manning came on.
Yeah.
Every once in a while it does change if an individual doesn't want to serve on that board anymore. And there's that appeal process every year that these individuals sit in a room with a taxpayer and they make their case on why they believe their taxes assessed value is wrong.
What is the background you look for when you say this would be a good person for an appeal board?
Well, similar to what Dan said, usually realtors have a better understanding of market value, the market worth, millage. I mean, they kind of understand the system because they deal with it every day. So we try and get people like that. Tank isn't a realtor, but he works in the business, owns it, understands construction business and the real estate market. And the other 2 are realtors that have been very active, very engaged, a long time Beaver County residents. They understand our local economy and business value and residential value. So that's what you look for. It's supposed to be an independent, board, non-government kind of entity to hear those appeals. Obviously, somebody from the assessment office sits there with them as well. But
I promised that there was a question that got sent in on our Facebook Live feed from Chad. Here's the question. The $5 we pay on our vehicle registration, what is it used for?
Prior to Commissioner Manning coming on board, Commissioner Egley at the time, myself, and Commissioner Medeo passed that ordinance that we were adding an additional $5. Each county in the Commonwealth has that option to do so.
So you did that?
We did do that, yes. We were the ones who passed that at the time. The county was in the red with our finances. We had to figure ways out to accommodate the needs that we needed in the county. Right now, what we use those monies is all of our county roads, our county bridges, anything to do with vehicular or motorized vehicles. Money is an eligible cost. So when we go pave our roads in the parks, when we pave them, I think we have 58 bridges, 59 bridges across Beaver County that the county owns. Ambridge Bridge being one of them. The Ambridge-Aliquippa Bridge being one of them.
Well, I appreciate you keeping that up because I use that one a lot.
A lot of people do.
If Commissioner Manning had to say, one of his biggest is trying to get that onto the tip, on the SPC state level to try and get that replaced. But Commissioner Amadeo will tell you, 10 years ago when it was on there, it was $400 million to get replaced.
expensive.
So I can only imagine what it is now to try and get a bridge of that size replaced.
Where would you put it? Would you put it upriver or downriver?
No,
Upriver towards South Heights or
my
downriver?
suggestion has always been, having traveled around, seeing what they've done at the Koppel Bridge, seeing what they've done, elsewhere, is just to build a bridge right next to it. You already have kind of the right-of-ways and the ramps, and if you can, you build one right next to it, you knock that one down, and you've got a new bridge. If you try and get into the right-of-ways and new crossing, I mean, that's where I think a lot of that $400 million comes from, because those other
not the
routes
bridge, but the logistics to get you to each end of it.
I mean, look how long it took to get Crow's Run and get all the right-of-ways acquired just to do that connector. A bridge is just going to be 5 times that much. That's just my idea is you build one right next to it if you can, if it's feasible. But we need to get on the tip so that they can do some engineering studies and come up with a potential cost estimate and what issues may be there around that. They're doing it right now with the Turnpike Bridge. I mean, that's several $1 million project that's supposed to be completed by 2026 at the Beaver Falls exit 13 there on the Turnpike. I think that's the most expedient, effective way to do it.
But to get back, just so we answer so we can answer Chad's question, anything to do with infrastructure on roadways or bridges, that money's an eligible expense. So that frees up money that we may have to spend on that to spend it elsewhere. That money is audited from the state, the Office of the Budget. It's audited by the Controller's Office. It's very strict. When you put these ordinances and acts in place, it's very strict on where you can and can't use the money. So that money does go into the roads, not in your municipality roads. There's a difference between state-owned roads, municipality-owned roads, and county-owned roads. I think we only have a couple miles worth of roads.
Yeah, 20, 30 miles maybe worth of county roads.
And they're spread out across the county. So, if someone has a big pothole on their road, hopefully they're not going to say, let's use that $5 registration, because, again, it's only could be eligible for a county road.
And I just paid that, by the way, because I just re-registered. My wife's registration was up this month. So,
how much of your time is spent on, we can do this in a year or two, and how much of your time is spent on the project that you were both just talking about, looking to the future?
I will tell you, and Dan knows this, I mean, one of my biggest frustrations is sometimes how long it takes government to get through the process, especially when it's multi-layered and you have to collaborate with other state agencies. I'm used to an industry where if we make a decision, we move on that decision and get things done.
Isn't that most industries?
Well, most industries and most businesses, but I will tell you, even now, post-COVID, with the significant increase of cost of goods, the delay in getting goods, even the stuff with the courthouse. We're going through a big concrete project now, and I think we're all frustrated with the pace in which this concrete work's going. We'd certainly like to see it done quicker, but there are constraints with contractors, materials, running into weather things. We want to asphalt some stuff, so you have a short window between now and the end of the year. So it's frustrating for all of us.
Okay, speaking of that, a couple of things from the comments section. Chad says, thank you for the information. Keep up the good work. Rick wants an update on Crow's Run. He says, it seems to be the weather's really nice for doing construction and don't seem to be. See, this is why I couldn't do your job. Well, what are you guys doing about it? He's not that nasty.
It's another one where that's another our project, right?
Good.
So no, I mean it's PennDOT, right, Dan?
Yeah, it's PennDOT.
It's their project to complete, and they have done some work with the new roundabout there.
Yeah, and he must he must live in that area because it's hard to see what's actually going on because they detour you around it to back to the roundabout. Yeah. I travel that way twice a week for youth soccer for the Tri-County Sports Complex in Beaver County up there, and I'm excited for it to be done. But I can't tell where they're working because they finished the work that was close to the detour sign. Are they there or not? I can't answer that.
Yeah, I came down 989 the other day coming back from.
But that is something as we said earlier, we could reach out to PennDOT. We could reach out to Cheryl Moon Sirianni, who again because of her local connections, we have a listening ear. We reach out to our state reps and say, can you please put a progress report out on Crow's Run for those residents that are affected by it?
It's Teleforum. It's Ask the Commissioners. Jack Manning is here and Dan Camp is here. Are we ready for winter? Because Farmer's Almanac says it's going to be a mess. Preparation has already started countywide, I would assume.
Well, we're actually thinking about it because we're pouring all this new concrete, and we're hoping that
it holds off.
We don't ruin it by putting the wrong kind of material on there for ice and snow removal. But actually, we've had a lot of conversations about snow removal. How do we do it? How do we make sure the courthouse and the county properties are safe during the winter? So we'll see what happens. Whatever the almanac says, we can count on something unpredictable happening.
How do you do the budget for something that you can't predict?
Yeah, so the way the municipalities in the county for salt, when you purchase salt,
Right.
it's a blanket purchase order. So we have salt left over from last year. Our salt sheds are almost full from last year, but you're tied into a contract to buy so much each year. It's tough. It's one of those things where you're probably going to over purchase because if you don't run out of it, you have to borrow it from other municipalities.
You don't want to fall short.
You don't want to fall short. But it's one of those things that you have to entrust our public works director. Has a lot of experience with municipalities. We purchase the same amount. Again, it's a blanket purchase order every year. It gets dropped off at the beginning of the year. For equipment, we're ready for our county roads and our county parks and bridges and our facilities. And I'm sure as our municipalities are as well.
We've talked a lot today, and we've talked indirectly about the different layers of government. Who's in charge of what and who doesn't, and I know these people and these people do this. Are we running our world in the most efficient way? Could we do with less when it comes to this municipality and that district, or are those voices going to disappear completely if we don't continue the current way of all of the different hands in the pie, I guess?
Yeah, I can't speak for the federal level or the state level at this point, just because we're not as active. I'm not as active in what's going on there. It may be an unpopular comment I'm going to make but I do believe that we need to have less because whether it's school districts, again, there's a big movement in Beaver County that Commissioner Manning started whenever he was with the chamber and with the quality education and the
QEC,
partnership QEC. You see these school districts right now at least sharing services. If they're willing to share services, why are they not willing to share a building? They have to do what's best for the kid. As for the municipalities, there are some larger municipalities in Beaver County that probably could sustain and hold off on their own.
Mm-hmm.
But these small ones, we have to come up with a way on regionalizing the assets. Not necessarily the police and fire. We're big supporters of merging and supporting police and fire, but even the road departments and secretaries and tax collectors. There's ways to streamline. Going back to the technology we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think every municipality wants to have their own support system, and I understand that, but we have to do what's best for the taxpayers. And at this time, we're heading in the right direction. I'd say it's moving slowly.
Why do you think that's an unpopular opinion? I'll go ahead and use the bad word: school consolidation. Why is that a bad thing to say?
I think there are ways. I support our teachers in Beaver County. I think when they hear these, they think school consolidation means less, which it really doesn't. Job loss. I don't think it does. I think it just means we have to get our infrastructure. One of the first things I learned from Dr. Postapek, whenever the partnership was, I really got educated on tax bases, and I was very familiar with county tax bases, but I wasn't familiar with school tax bases. I didn't understand a district right beside each other might have $2 million in debt, and their millage rate's worth $60,000. But the school district beside them, their millage rate's $400,000 per mill, and they have $80 million in debt. You can't merge those schools because financially it's not good for the residents. Yeah. But there are ways to figure it out. Instead of investing money into your brick and mortar school that is falling apart, let's look at building a new school that could accommodate both those schools.
I could talk forever about this, Eddie. So
I asked the question, Dan started talking, and you were sitting over there twitching. It's like, I know Jack's got something.
I agree with everything Dan said there. I mean, to me, at the end of the day, it's still about are we providing equitable education to every student in Beaver County? And if you look statewide. The rich schools stay rich, the poor schools stay poor. Trying to fund them through property tax is just a bad process. I don't have a magic answer, a solution for that. The state Supreme Court has ruled that it's unfair and they need to have a better funding formula. I think Harrisburg is trying to go through some kind of process to figure out what it is. But locally, I think we can still have school boards and school districts and K through 8. You don't want to send your kids on a bus for hours to get to a school. But I believe when students reach a certain point, 9th through 12th grade, where they're really starting to find what's my career path, what's best for me. Is it going into the trades? Is it going into medicine? Is it going into engineering or whatever it is? And I think there's ways that we can pool our resources to provide those kind of equitable career paths for every student that's right for them and right for their parents to direct them in. And I don't know that we're doing that effectively across the board. Everybody's doing the best they can. Some of these small school districts are doing an unbelievable job with the resources that they're giving. But at the end of the day, we know a lot of them aren't sustainable. One thing I want to mention, we met with Vistra, who looks like they're going to be the new owners of the nuke plant. They got through one hurdle just recently. They have another one to get through. But if we had lost, the county had lost something like a Vistra Energy Harbor and the tax base that they bring, that brings a tremendous drain on the county, but also on that local school district. I'm not sure how some of these school districts can survive if we lose, some kind of a big tax payer like those or some other industry. So anyway, that's.
I realized I hadn't got you wound up the whole program. I had to get you wound up.
Okay.
What should I have asked you that I didn't? We've got about 2 minutes left. Jack Manning and Dan Camp, commissioners, have been my guests on Ask the Commissioners. What did I not bring up?
I don't know. We covered covered a lot of ground. I think we covered the important things. Like I said, we have a lot of moving parts at the county. We're doing a lot of great things with tourism. We're still improving the parks. We've got water and sewer systems going through Brady's Run, where we've been upgrading stuff the best we can. We've Dan, allocated maybe 90% of the ARPA funds that we've had back into the local municipalities, back into those places that need it. And I think we've collectively have done a very good job in trying to get that money out there to help every municipality, the ones that are struggling and have been impacted by COVID and this inflation that's happening. And so far, we're trying to make sure those projects come to fruition, and we're getting things done.
Dan, anything?
That's it. No,
covered everything. Got Jack wound up at the end. That's a good hour. Ask the Commissioners, Jack Manning and Dan Camp on Beaver County Radio.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
They say good things come in threes, and it's true as far as reasons to visit Freedom United Federal Credit Union this month. For starters, Freedom United celebrated International Credit Union Day on Thursday, October 19th. That was when local folks discovered the value and importance of our local credit union. It's also around this time of year, 84 years ago to be exact, that Freedom United Federal Credit Union was organized by a group of Freedom Oil Company employees. So there you have it, a second reason to stop in and find out what has made our credit union special all this time. Finally, it's Trick or Treat Month at Freedom United. Stop in anytime and get treated to some of the best loans around. The trick is deciding what to buy with your newfound cash. Loans are based on credit approval. See? Good things do come in threes at Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Visit Beaver County Radio for a live pep rally before the Geneva homecoming game on Saturday, October 7th from 12:30 to 2 p.m. at the Northern Gate entrance at Reese Field. Spin the prize wheel and win some great prizes. Wear your Geneva swag and cheer on the Golden Tornado